Hello, friends, and welcome to the Ankur Bhatnagar Show. I am so excited to be here with you to spark awareness, fuel motivation, and help you unlock the best version of yourself. For this episode, I am fired up because it has deeply personal meaning for me. If you are a new listener, I just want to take a moment to personally welcome you to the Ankur Bhatnagar Show. I am thrilled that you are here and you have hit the play button and found the time to listen to this particular podcast. This tells me that you love to learn, love feeling inspired, and you also want to understand yourself better. And that's exactly this podcast will help you do today. In this podcast, we will talk about something most of us avoid but cannot escape: difficult conversations. Whether it's tension at work, misunderstandings at home, or unspoken issues with friends, these moments are tough. I will be sharing a personal story, one that taught me some hard lessons and helped me grow into someone who learned how to handle tough conversations in any settings. Along the way, I will also introduce you to a simple framework that I developed to help me turn conflict into clarity and clarity into deeper connections. So grab a coffee, take a deep breath. This one is real, thought-provoking, and maybe a little personal. A few years ago, I had what I thought would be a simple conversation with someone I had knew for years, someone I deeply respected. But things had gotten tense. There were misunderstandings, unspoken expectations, and a build-up of small frustrations that turned into something much bigger. When we finally sat down to clear the air, I walked in thinking I was ready. I was prepared to defend myself, to correct their assumptions, to explain my side of the story. But within minutes, the conversation spiraled. I was interrupted. They raised their voice. I felt attacked. I snapped back. It wasn't a conversation, it was a collision. What hurt the most wasn't that we did not resolve the issue. What hurt was the relationship. We lost trust. We stopped collaborating. Eventually, we stopped even talking. We never looked eye to eye again. That experience stayed with me. It forced me to reflect deeply. I learned from the whole conversation, and that led me to build a framework of handling difficult conversation. Not just for myself, but for anyone who struggles with hard conversations. In this episode, I want to share what I developed: a 3P, 3C framework. It is simple, it is powerful, and it works in navigating any difficult conversation with more clarity and compassion. 3P stands for preparation, practice, and patience. And 3C stands for connect, converse, and conclude. Let's get into each of these, what I learned the hard way. Let's talk about the first P, that is preparation. The first step in any difficult conversation is preparation. And I don't just mean reviewing the facts. I mean understanding the deeper why. Often we approach hard conversations at the surface level. We focus on what happened, who said what, who is right or wrong. But the real preparation means asking yourself the deeper questions. Instead of just thinking, what happened? Why did they disrespect me? Ask, what might be going on beneath the surface? What could have triggered this reaction? What can we do to avoid something like this happening again? You might say something like, I know things have been tense lately, and I would really like to understand what led to that moment and how can we move forward. It shifts the tone from blame to curiosity. Also, ask yourself, is this person reacting to the issue or to something deeper that I might not be seeing? In my own case, I was so focused on defending myself that I missed the underlying emotions. driving the other person's reaction. Set smaller goals. Not every conversation needs to end in a breakthrough. Sometimes the only goal is, let me hear their side without judgment. Prepare mentally. Remind yourself, this isn't about winning, it's about learning. Difficult conversations come with emotional waves such as blame, anger, discomfort. But you can choose how to respond. If someone says, this is your fault, instead of fighting back, try, I hear you. I'm sorry you felt that way. What do you think I could have done differently? That one sentence can change the entire direction of the conversation, from an attack to understanding. The second P is practice. Remember, you can't control the conversation, but you can control how you show up in it. That's where practice comes in. And I don't mean scripting every word. Practice means mentally and emotionally rehearsing the kind of person you want to be in that moment. Rehearse possible scenarios. For example, ask yourself, what if they say something like, I don't feel supported? How will you respond on that? Instead of getting defensive, say something like, I hear that. Can you help me understand what support looks like for you? Practice emotional pauses. Prepare yourself for the moment they might say something that stings, and picture yourself staying calm. Practice is about showing up with clarity and respect, even when things get uncomfortable. How you prepare emotionally makes all the difference when tension rises. The third P is patience. Now, patience doesn't mean being passive. It means being present. In a difficult conversation, your greatest strength might be your ability to pause. Pause before responding. If someone blames you, resist the urge to react immediately. Take a breath. Ask yourself, why do they feel this way? What's underneath their words? That moment of pause, just a few seconds, can shift everything. It gives you a space to respond with intention, not instinct. If the other person goes quiet, don't rush to fill the space, let it breathe. Sometimes silence means they are thinking and processing. That's where the real growth happens, in between those moments. Patience is the quiet strength that keeps the conversation from boiling over. It allows for reflection, grace, and sometimes even healing. Let's talk about 3 C's. First C is connect. One of the biggest mistakes we make in difficult conversations is trying to control things right from the start. We come in with an agenda, ready to steer the outcome, and that energy often gets mirrored right back at us. When both people are in defense mode, there are no winners. Connection is not about taking control, it's about building a bridge. Start the conversation by establishing a connection first. For example, you can start by saying, I really value a relationship, and I would love to talk honestly about something that's been on my mind. Or, I'm not here to confront, but to understand you better. This simple act of compassion invites openness. It shifts the energy from confrontation to collaboration. Second C is converse. This is the heart of the process. It's when both sides share, listen, and begin to understand the bigger picture. Not just at the surface level, but beneath the surface. Remember, real conversation is not about taking turns. It's about connecting through listening. Avoid monologues. If you catch yourself doing all the talking, then hit a pause and ask the other person, how are you feeling about this? What's your perspective? Those questions open the door. They say your voice matters too. Use reflective listening. Reflective listening is about repeating the question back to the person just to make sure that you heard the question well and you are sort of understood it. So use phrases like what I hear you're saying is this. So if I understand you correctly is this. It will show you that you are more open and care about listening to them and not enforcing your views. Remember, when someone feels heard, they are more open to hearing you too. And the last C is conclude. Not every conversation ends with a perfect resolution, but it can end with clarity, with mutual respect, and with dignity. The goal isn't always to solve, it is to understand. Even something simple like, I'm really glad we talked. This helps both sides walk away knowing where they landed. Agree to revisit if needed. Sometimes the conversation isn't over, it is just paused. You can say something like, let's check in again next week after we had some time to think. It takes the pressure off needing to fix everything right now. And last not the least, leave with respect. Even if you still disagree, you can close with something like, I appreciate your honesty and I'm grateful we had this conversation. And above all, always remember, if you can't be a bridge, at least be a lighthouse. It means even if you can't fix every issue, you can still guide with kindness. You can still offer light. You don't have to answer all the questions. You just have to show up with clarity, compassion, and presence. I want to leave with a one small prompt, something to carry with you after this episode. You should ask yourself, which is one difficult conversation you have been avoiding? And what would you change if your goal was simply to understand the other person better? Start there. No pressure to fix. Just show up with preparation, practice, and patience, and then connect, converse, and conclude with care. You don't need to master difficult conversation. You just need to approach them with open heart and with 3B3C framework. And remember, difficult conversation is about learning, not proving. Until next time, stay grounded, stay kind, and stay curious. Thank you for listening to the Ankur Bhatnagar Show. God bless you all and have a great day.